Today we have something very special for the South African flower world. Actually, I think it's really nice that we're not talking only to one person, but to two people at the same time. So welcome, Karen Dalton from Dalton Bloom and Leanie Barnard from Floom Floral Design at our today's episode of Piece of a Puzzle. I know, first of all, Karen, you don't like to be in front of the camera too much. You are also much more behind the camera person, and I can feel with you, so don't worry about it. And I think usually all floral designers are actually people that are much more behind the scenes than actually like in front of the scenes. But I think right now, also in the time that we are in, the time that we are facing, it's important to show the face of yourself as being your own brand ambassador. And I think you two also have a quite interesting story. I think maybe, I'm not sure if Karen, maybe you want to start explaining like who you are, what you're doing, and how's your relationship with Leanie, and how you got basically together. And then Leanie can also tell a little bit more about your own business, what you're doing, what's your style, so that people just know a bit more about you.
Alfie, thank you. Thank you, Sylvia. Thanks for having us. We are excited to be here. We're definitely nervous. I think that unless I have a shot of tequila and on top of a bar counter, maybe. I think a lot more introverted than I thought I was. And yes, so it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but thanks for having us. It is exciting to be here, and especially to be here with Leanie. Leanie and I came to meet through training. So she joined the school. She came to my career course. When was that, Leanie? I don't know. It feels like
November
like I've known you for 10 years.
2017. 2017, November.
Wow. I can't hear Leanie, so I'm gonna guess that it's been
2017.
2017, she said.
Okay, cool. So Leanie came through to the flower school, and like with any one of the students who finishes our career course, I offer a lot of mentorship, and she was one of those students who just jumped straight into the business of her floral career. And we've been in touch ever since, and whenever she's needed some help or some guidance, I've been there with her, and we've just built such a really wonderful friendship. And I'm so grateful to have these kinds of relationships with my career students after they go off and set up their businesses. And it's just, it makes me, this is why I do it. It's so that I can watch people just like Leanie, who are incredibly talented, charge off into the industry and make waves. So yeah, we have a wonderful friendship, and we've worked together a lot, and it's great to have been part of her journey in the way that I have.
It's amazing.
That's amazing. Before I come to you, Leanie, and I give you the time also to speak about your business in detail. I mean, I know a little bit about your story, Karen, where you come from, and what are your visions for your business. And you came actually from abroad, you built up your business here, you had ideas where you came from, and which maybe didn't match so much with the South African reality. And that's why when we talked the other day, we came up to this cooperation that you have with Leanie, and we got the idea to get the both of you actually on the chat, because we wanted to show how beautiful it is when people work together. So maybe just say a couple of sentences, like where you come from and what is your like your goal for our industry, like for your business.
And why you also like had the teaching, because this is what we actually like speak a lot about the importance of education in the flower industry, like at large, like generally. So what did you maybe see was missing, like when you came from abroad, where you said, now this is actually what I can bring to the table to just offer this to people?
So I moved to South Africa from Zimbabwe 6 years ago today.
Wow!
I
Congratulations!
I know.
Welcome.
I know, I didn't realize it, 6 years. So yeah, I decided, obviously Zimbabwe was in a great deal of turmoil. I had a very strong retail career there for many, many years. But I could just see that Zimbabwe had very little left to offer me. And so I needed to make a change. So I packed up my car, I packed up my blue buckets, water buckets, and my red suitcase, and I said goodbye to everything and everybody that I loved. And I just, thought I'd jump across the border and it would be easy and fantastic. Look, I used to come to South Africa to do business all the time, so I really didn't anticipate that it would be as difficult and as challenging as it was. But that said, I came and I was so fortunate to meet up with other people in the industry, not in the floral industry, but in the wedding industry, who honestly offered me such a wonderful support system and guided me. Now, it was not easy because I just didn't know how things worked here. I didn't know anything about the flower market, the auctions. I came from Zimbabwe where the internet was just something relatively new, really. I mean, I think Facebook was what we used. There was no such thing as websites and Instagram. We just everything we worked. It was by word of mouth, and it was by connections, very much like it is, I suppose, here. But I didn't know much about marketing my business online at all, and I had no idea how to go about securing partnerships with wholesalers, flower wholesalers or growers or anything like that. So I found it really tricky. But I have to say that my friends in the wedding industry, my photographer friends, my stationery friends, all of those other people that I got to know were wonderful, and they helped me so much, which brings me to my school. I really wanted for the students who came to my school, and I wanted to teach because I studied overseas and I got a good basic floral training, but I got no mentorship. I got all the technical training, most of the technical training that I needed, but I didn't get that leadership and the mentorship that I needed. I didn't get anybody saying to me, "Hey, Karen, these are the mistakes that you're probably going to make. Look out for this." I really felt like I was kind of just pushed out on my own and made to go off and figure it out, which I did. So I wanted to teach people, and I wanted people to feel secure, because if you're a creative like most of us are, you can feel very vulnerable when you're stepping into a new environment and a new industry. Especially, I mean, a lot of the people that come to my career courses are coming from a very, very strong corporate background, and they just want to be creative. And so they feel vulnerable in this industry. And for me, my teaching, first of all, I wanted people to feel mentored. I wanted them to get really good floral training, to cover everything, and just to learn from the mistakes that I made all alone, which were costly, and at times really heartbreaking. So that's what my school is about, really, offering mentorship along with all of the floristry basics, the very, very important floral basics that I think we need in the industry here.
Okay, perfect. First of all, let's say welcome, Nyoka. She is also someone that actually has done quite also a lot for the industry. She created a freelance group. Hello. Now, Leanie, tell us a little bit about your journey, about how you started and why you felt the need to go for a course, and why actually Karen's course.
So I always loved flowers, and I just used to do flowers when my mom entertained at home, but I didn't have any technical knowledge. So, just buy flowers from Woolies or wherever and put them in vases. So I used to be a graphic designer, and I had my own company. And one day I was just ready to make a career change. So I decided I wanted to be a florist, and I didn't want to go into the industry not knowing what I'm doing, just winging it. You know, I didn't want to mess up someone's wedding day. So I started looking for courses online. It was really hard to find anything. And then I saw Karen did a friend of mine's wedding, and I just loved the flowers. So I started Googling who did flowers. Then I got to Dalton and Bloom's website, and I saw her 8-day career course, which I enrolled in.
Okay.
And it was just, I can really recommend it. It's everything you need to know. Karen is so generous with her knowledge. And like she said, she was really a mentor to me. All the big events in my career, Karen was there, supporting, cheering me on, helping, giving advice.
Wow.
So you get a lot more than just, you know, the technical know-how. You really do get a lot of inside info. She let me help her with her events. I kept nagging her to take me with to some of her events, and that's where I got some experience, because I suppose that's the hardest part. Once you've done the course, how do you start? How do you just need to, sorry, that's my dog. You just need
No problem. Karen, can you hear us? Actually, maybe I see that you are struggling.
I can't hear Leanie. I can hear you ladies, but I can't hear Leanie.
Can you just do me a favor? Can you just like log out and come back in again while Leanie is continue to talking?
Okay, cool. I'll do that now. See you back.
Okay.
So where was I? Oh, so you need experience right after. I mean, it doesn't help if you just take a course and then you don't know where to start. So that's why it was so important for me to start freelancing for people. I worked for free for a couple of florists just to get the experience that I needed, just to see how everything works. And I think just to break the ice, that's the most important thing. You know, once the first one's done, then you're on the roll. So I immediately wanted to start my business.
How long, what, like for me, just like that people understand also your journey, how long is that ago? Like, when did you start? Like, when did you, like, I mean, just from, I know that 2017, but was that also before where you said, actually, wow, I actually like really enjoy this, and you had a long time looking for something like Karen's course? Or was it just like in 2017, you really like were checking out what is available to up in your game in the technique side of things?
Yeah, so I decided in November 2017 that I want to enroll in a course. So I immediately found Karen, and then we did 4 days in November. And then January 2018, I did a styled shoot, massive styled shoot. I saved up some money and bought lots of flowers, got some really nice industry friends to work with. And of course, Karen was there to help me. I asked her to just come for emotional support, and she ended up helping and like Karen is.
She didn't need any help at all. She's just amazing.
No, I did.
But it was nice to be there.
And then I created my website with those images, because I felt it was really important to start like that, to show people what style I want to do. Because it's one thing to book a wedding which is not really in your style, and another to just show this is kind of the vibe that I'm going for.
This is so important what you are saying, and I love that you mentioned this actually, because we very often talk to florists, and also when they book like style shoots, and we always tell them, you get what you show. If you show cheap things, you get like events, they are like low budget. And if you show something unique, or like you show your style, you get people booked you, they like this style, or they have the budget for your style that you show. I think this is very important, that we don't define ourselves by we can do everything. We should do who we are or what we are.
Yeah, okay. I agree.
Can you hear us, Karen?
Just Leanie now. No, I can't hear you, Sylvia and Alfie. Let me try and come back in again.
Yes, just try to come back. No problem
so sorry.
right now. Okay. I will just check her out when she's coming back again. Yeah, so I think it's important that you show people what is your style, and not like all the styles match to each and every designer, you know. So the one works more whimsical, I would even call it, you know, like with a lot of green. The other one has a very modern, like almost very straightforward design. And I think for florists, it's also an expression of who they are, you know. So like in design generally, or in fashion, you have to like just create what feels most comfortable to yourself, what you want to show and what you want to put out there. Can I ask you, because we just had like a quick chat before, why weddings? Like what did drive you to say, you know what, I really want to become a wedding florist and not maybe have a flower shop? So what is your passion about, like wedding flowers?
I think when I started out, I didn't want to do wedding flowers at all. I actually just wanted to do nice bunches for myself. And then I realized there's actually, the past few years, I feel that the boundaries have been pushed for wedding flowers. So I felt like there was a real opportunity to do something interesting, because before, when I used to think about wedding flowers, everything looks the same. You know, it wasn't something that I was passionate about. But after seeing some interesting florists like Karen and some florists in Cape Town, like you guys, it just got me interested in doing some creative things for weddings.
Okay, Karen, can you hear this now? Can you hear us?
I can hear everybody.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Oh, wow.
Third time lucky.
Good. Yes.
Thank
okay,
you. But I'm sorry, but sometimes the technology is not on our side.
And if you're nearly 100 like I am, Jack and I had to try and figure out. He's 13 and he just had to sort out the ear pods like without him.
Okay, no problem. All good. Leanie, you wanted to add something right now.
I want to add something. So it started off like that. But now I've also done some corporate events, which I also love. You know, there's different upsides to both. But I have to tell you that the wedding industry I find really rewarding. I have just fallen in love with the process. I love meeting up with the brides, getting to know them, and then just seeing the expression on their faces once they see the flowers.
Yes.
I've had brides cry and hug me, and, you know, it's just such a rewarding feeling when the client is that happy. It's very personal.
I very often say, I mean, don't take me too much to my word, but I'm always saying like the smile of the bride is more worth than the money she pays. I mean, it's quite, it sounds quite,
but everyone is working at one special moment, like for the reveal, and like when you just see like the faces, I think it just gives you so much joy and happiness. And by the end of the day, I mean, most florists know they work through the night and like really until last minute to make this dream come true, this like once in a lifetime moment. And then when you could be part of such an important day, it's just really beautiful when you see the real couple. That's amazing.
Well, I think the whole journey for us is very personal. I think when I take on somebody's wedding, it's such a personal, I take it very personally. So, and I think you're right. All that matters is that they're happy and that we've been able to translate their dream into a reality. You only get one shot, as you know, so it's very rewarding when they are thrilled.
Yes.
Yeah, and also like I like that a lot of florists actually take also the, let's say, the lead in guiding the bride, because when a bride comes with all her Pinterest pictures, you know, we all know about that. So they are just overwhelmed. They want maybe to have 10 styles in one and don't about that. And I think in a lot of times, like we hear that when we talk to florists, when they order the flowers, so they even still evaluating like what we can maybe get instead of this, or when we do not have peonies, what is possible. I think that is also in the last couple of years, it became it is very nice to see that florists actually guiding brides and not in the opposite way.
Yeah. Well, I think it comes back to what we just discussed about having your own signature style. And that's what's also really important, because if you get the bride to trust you and the bride loves your style, you know it's going to be a success.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me, it's a personal question. Tell me, the both of you, what do you think about mock-ups? And do you really think it is necessary? Or do you think it could be avoided, but it's just so popular and everybody is doing it? What do you think?
Karen, do you want to go first?
Sure. I think there's two different schools here, I think, in Tilly. Sometimes I'll get a client who from day one just says, Karen, I love what you do. Take the whole thing and run with it. As long as we kind of work with these kind of colors, I really trust you. So go for it. And that bride, I know, trusts my design and she trusts my styling, so I don't have to worry. But then you will get a client who's maybe a little bit more apprehensive, who maybe isn't too entirely sure of her own ideas. I like to do a mock-up when I don't feel like we're both on the same page. It is an expense for my client, and I let them know that we don't have to do it. But I do think that it gives them a bit of sense of security and a bit of comfort. I think planning my own wedding now, I realized just how daunting it can be. I never realized this before. I honestly, I was really surprised at how insecure I was over every single decision. I had no idea what I was doing. And I thought to myself, Karen, you do this for a living. How is this so hard? So I've really come to respect how confusing it can all seem. So I do them. And shall we say, I don't want to say difficult clients, because I think difficult clients are just people who are maybe feeling a little bit overwhelmed and have many, many other stresses entering into their life and into this planning phase. So for those clients, I insist on a mock-up, because I really want to know and gauge to see whether I have really understood this brief, and I want them to be happy so that further down the line, there's no problems. Because if I can manage their expectations, sometimes as well, when people's budgets are a little bit tricky and they bring in the Pinterest pictures, as much as I can verbally try and manage the expectations, I think when it's there on the table, then they really understand how far their money has got them. And then maybe they will bring more money to the table, or we can adjust and tweak. So I don't know, Leanie, how do you feel?
I also feel it depends on the client. What I find, I get a lot of clients who don't have a wedding planner necessarily. So what they are worried about is not necessarily the flowers, but maybe just they cannot picture the whole thing together. So they want to see the flowers with the glasses, with the underplates, whatever they are doing. So for those clients, I do recommend it, because especially if I see that something's going to clash, maybe, I would make suggestions and take some extra things. But I don't usually recommend doing a mock-up, because it's never the same on the day. And if they see my work and they like what I'm doing, and we have had our meeting and discussed everything, discussed budget, like Karen said, verbally, you do give them a really good idea of what they're going to get. And usually that's enough. Like you said, I think in some interview, when you go to a designer to get a dress, you don't say, make me a paper dress first. You trust them because you love their style.
Yeah.
And that's when the most amazing flowers
I
happen.
think there's no right or wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why we're asking.
No, we're asking.
I think maybe it's controversial or not, but I think just like everyone also needs to do what they need to do, you know. And I think I don't think there's like a right or a wrong answer to it.
I can say I have never done one, and I try to avoid it because I also want the couple to be somehow in a certain way surprised, in a positive way surprised, because when they enter the room, that must be like, wow. And I think when I do a mock-up, this wow is taken away in a certain way. I understand what you are saying, Karen, but also we had just a couple, like a couple of weeks back, and we tried to explain them that how much the mock-up would cost, and I also tried not maybe to force it, but I said, okay, if they want to do it, that would have been my first one. By the end of the day, we agreed that they trusted in us, and the groom, and I must be said, the groom was actually, when everything was ready and the groom came, and he said something that I will never forget. He said, listen, now I can understand something like that could never be mocked up. And I mean, for a man to say something like that, and this is how it is. You can make a table, but you will never get this feeling of a room, you know, like that is what I personally believe.
But also maybe from a flower side, and this is maybe also like sometimes where we come in, where we say it's controversial, because usually the timing when you mock up is not the same exact time as when you actually have the wedding, which means the flowers that are available might not be exactly the same as what you're going to use then on your final product. So, I mean, I understand, and I completely understand, like maybe from the scale, or whether you like a specific shape or something like this, but it is somehow like
it's
something
tricky,
that one could say, you know, you could save the money, like if you can trust, and if you really like know what you want. But I also understand if you have like a bride that has no clue really what she wants, to really make sure that you are on the right track, and like not on the day of the wedding, like the face will be like this, and it's like, no, this is not what I had envisioned, like more or less.
I have another very important question, maybe for the two of you, because we have a lot of, like, what I see, we're facing a lot of issues in our industry, that brides actually going from one florist to another one, getting quotes, and like moving the quotes from one florist to the other one just to get maybe a cheaper price, or we have a special system how we work to avoid that. But let me ask you, like how you work, how you operate. Do you take deposits for quotes? How you actually get paid? Because we also see a lot of times then florists order very, very, very late. Let's say the wedding is on Saturday, so they come sometimes even on Monday and telling us for Saturday they need this and that and that, and because only the bride paid them
just now.
Yeah. So how you operate?
Well, I think in the beginning, when I started in my business, I saw a lot more of that than I do now. And it is frustrating. I do feel that the consumer has a right to, I wouldn't say shop around, but maybe there are 2 or 3 florists that she's absolutely in love with. I personally put a great deal of work and time, so many hours into my design and style brief. So I don't like to do those and give those out willy-nilly. I have to meet with the client beforehand, simply because, like I said earlier, it's such a personal thing for me. It's such a personal journey. Leanie is an incredibly talented artist, and when she is painting, it's a personal thing, right? So for me, this is my form of art. Flowers are my medium, and it's very personal. I design every single event uniquely for each client. So I need to know that our connection and the vibe with that client is right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I insist on having a meeting, a consultation beforehand. I charge for that consultation. I limit the time, and I'm very conscious of the information that I give them during that consultation. From there, I will decide if I'm going to move forward. I know that sounds a bit cheeky, but if the vibe isn't right, if I don't feel like I can give them what they want or what they're going to expect, from there, I then decide whether I'm going to send through my design brief and my quote. But I really, really try to limit doing that for that very reason, is that people use it. I've had often, and I'm sure we've all had it, where a bride uses the design and the ideas that you've given and shopped around with that template, which I think is very frustrating, and it's not all that cool, but it happens. I mean, you know, how do you get away from the fact? And like I said, because I'm planning my own wedding, you kind of want to, and I'm getting married in Istanbul, it's a little bit harder. So I am looking at different florists and different makeup artists, and I'm doing that very thing that I don't like, but I'd like to think I'm doing it with a little bit more integrity than I suppose you do see out there. It is a tricky thing. I don't know how to get around it, but I suppose once I've met with them, then I decide whether I think that these are serious clients. And like I said, I charge quite a bit for that consultation, which I then refund them if they sign up with me. So I do feel like I have gotten a little bit of remuneration for my basic ideas and concepts and quoting.
And you, Leanie?
So I still need to do that. I do not charge for consultations, but I feel that you can suss out your clients from the beginning. You know, when people send me an inquiry, I usually tell them that we start with a face-to-face meeting, and then lots of clients or prospective clients say that they don't want to meet. Then I know, okay, that's probably someone who's just hunting for the best price. Then I send most people to my website. We have a budget calculator on the website, which is quite accurate. So there you can put in how many of what you need, what the kind of style is that you want, what your expectation is. You know, I want to make a big impression, or I want to keep it plain and simple, things like that. And then it gives you an estimate of what you can expect to pay. Because lots of people come to me and they say, I've never done this before, which I can totally relate to, because before I did flowers, I mean, you don't know what a wedding costs. So a lot of people still think that you can, for a couple of thousand, you can do a big wedding with flower balls and whatever. So they just manage the expectation with the budget. So after that, if they
just calculate it. Did you do this yourself? Like, or is there maybe for other people, like for other florists who are interested in this? Like, did you like really like do this yourself, or do you have? Is there an application somewhere, or how did you go about this? This calculator.
I have a very clever husband who made it for me.
Congratulations!
Yeah, so that's what we do. And then when I meet up with clients, I ask them if they're looking at other florists or if they really do love my style. And then if they want to go with me and they love my style, I would try to work with almost any budget, as long as the expectation and the budget matches up. But so I try to kind of fill it out in the beginning.
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to answer this, but out of that, let's say 10 quotations you do, what is the percentage of orders, like bookings? Like when you say, okay, you have drawn up 10 like real quotes.
I would say about 35-40% clients that I book. Yeah, so there is still a lot that, and especially in Pretoria, we are lots of florists who get the same clients. So, you know, we chat to each other and we hear like, oh, that one inquired. So we really do know what's going on.
That's what we do. We do talk to each other. I think sorry to interrupt you, but we all talk to each other. I think that if only clients realized that we're all good friends.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think it would stop them from doing that a little bit more.
Yeah, and I want to encourage you because I asked this question in particular for a reason, because I speak to a lot of florists, and we have this discussion all the time, and I wanted to encourage all of you actually to go out and ask for a down payment, because
Or a consultation
or
fee
a
at least.
consultation fee, because I always use this just with the paper dress. I have another example. If you have a broken washing machine and you call the service, what is first what they tell you? How much you have to pay that
Call-out fee.
it comes out.
Or call-out fee.
Yeah. So even before they have actually one eye on your washing machine, you have already to pay for them to come out. And I think we as florists, we should value our time much more, and we should also communicate this to the clients. I think we have good experience with that, and I think the idea what Karen said is also brilliant, to say, okay, she has a consultation fee, and then she takes it up from there, because your time that you sit, and that's why I asked also, out of 10 quotations you get 3.5 orders. For the other 6.5, your time is not valued actually, and you don't get money. And I think say it again.
And you put a lot of effort in those proposals, because people
exactly
because they want to see what they're going to pay for. And then you also get lots of florists who just say, this is how much it's going to be, without properly showing. So it's a fine balance between showing the client what they will get for this price, but just showing them enough that they, like you just said, don't take your designs to someone else. You can just do it for cheaper.
Maybe it helps to work on budgets.
If I can interject. So, Sylvia, this is part of the reason why I really want to form a Floral Designers Association, so that there is an umbrella that we can all work under together. And one of my main objectives has to be to really change the mindset that floristry isn't a profession. I really think that too often it's thought of as a hobby that everybody and anybody can do. I really want it to be a respected profession, one that school leavers will really, really consider. I don't know how many times, if you've ever tried to fill in a form online and you've got to scroll down where it says fill in your profession, and it's like architect or lawyer or teacher or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like scrolling, like, what about me? What about creative entrepreneur? What about florist? Where am I there? And it's really, it irks me. I mean, I don't know, maybe this is just my personal vulnerability or insecurity about it, but I will go to a dinner party or what have you, and people will say to me, so what line of work are you in? And I'll go, I'm in floristry. And they go, wow, that's amazing. Tell me more about forestry. That's so incredible that you're in forestry. And I go, no, floristry. And then you can just see their interest wanes immediately. And they're like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. You're a florist. That's so lovely. And I just want to stop the conversation there and go, do you have any idea how hard we work? Do you have any idea what goes into planning these events? Many of us do huge events for thousands of guests, and the amount of planning, the strategy that goes into our business is huge. So I can't help but feel that if we form an association that is a professional body that sets out to have a powerful voice, we can change that perception. And then from there, we'll be able to start charging correctly.
Yeah, I wanted to interrupt you for a moment because this message is actually a message that I don't know. You said it so just like go to flow, like in between, you know. This is a bombshell, actually. Like boom, 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 boom. We actually getting a flower association, and I mean,
Yes, Sylvia. Yes, we got to do it.
Yeah, exactly. We should do it. And I think I like everybody that want to come on board has my full support. And I think we just need something like that.
Yes.
We need it in our industry, and we need it to together, not actually to divide us, to fight each other, to stay together and to get support, to get legal advice, to get to know about things, what's going on in other parts of the world with the
have
flower
the same
industry.
standards, same guidelines, same rules. And I think coming from Europe, and I mean, this is maybe something that we have almost shared everywhere where we also speak.
Yeah.
For us, it was very surprising coming to South Africa that actually there is no body actually that
that's exactly
rules for florist, you know, so everyone can become a florist, which on the one side is beautiful, is amazing, you know, because you have the opportunity to really show what you have inside without maybe needing to go through 3 years of training or school or something like this. But on the other hand, it also creates a lot of problems because
we have the first people that are in already, Karen, you.
So, and I think this is
good. I'm glad
you have people that are educated that maybe also spend a lot of money onto their own education, going to schools, whether it's in the country or outside of the country, attending courses and so on and so forth. But they are fighting in brackets against maybe someone who just does it for a hobby, you know. So, and obviously then we're gonna have problems in pricing, in okay, someone who has maybe who does not have a certain overhead because they have a shop, they have staff, they have a lot, they have maybe to even pay tax all of this, a cold room and whatnot. And maybe we have a florist that calls themselves a florist, but they doing it out from their baby, you know, and just they do it with their friends. That there's nothing wrong with it, but I think there needs to be a qualification that says, you know, this is me. I am a florist. I can deliver these and these services under these and these rules and guidelines, and I will make sure that I will provide a certain standard to my clients. And the client, on the other hand, also has certain security. Says, okay, cool. When I will book this certified client or someone who is in such an association, they will work with a certain, I don't want to even call it work ethic, but to a certain guideline that really gives me a good feeling as a client. So it is actually something that goes vice versa, and not only a linear way, but there is a two-way street. And I think that is very important.
And every client can decide themselves if they book maybe a rather certified florist or not. It's not that we want to set the rule for the client, but it's more a security for the client as well.
So, Alfie, you've put it all so perfectly. I mean, you've mentioned in what you've said there all of the things that I really, really want to focus on. And one of those things is my hope that the association will maintain an oversight of those kinds of things. The knowledge, the skills, the conducts, the code of conduct, the practices that our members have. And this is designed to protect both the public and our businesses as well, which I think is lacking. I think that you're exactly right. There needs to be some form of accreditation so that members of the public know that we operate a legitimate business, that we are in fact skilled and we know how to deliver on time a high quality product, and also that we're treating our staff and running our business well. I mean, there's so much to like you said. I mean, I thought about this about a year and a half ago, and I did all my research online, and I just couldn't believe that there wasn't already a Floral Designers Association. And so, after speaking to you, Sylvia, a couple of weeks ago, I've done a lot of work on it already. I've spoken to a legal team. We're going to be setting up an NGO. And the reason I needed to be an NGO, because one of my aims is to be able to get government funding so that we can, through the association, take on and train women who are underprivileged, just so that we can empower them, because as we know, as I know, is that my floral skill can go anywhere.
Really, I mean, this is amazing. I mean, we did not coordinate this right now, but this is, I love you. Only, like, I love you for doing this, for taking on this role, because I know for a matter of fact, like, apart from being a passionate florist at heart, this is going to be a job that is going to help so many others.
Yeah.
What is maybe, I mean, I would really like to know, like,
One more. We would like to give you the honor to be member number one.
Yes,
There you go.
You have our say, like,
Lianie,
our,
number
like,
2, right?
I'm number 2.
There's so many benefits. I mean, we can only win. Can you imagine if this association had been set up? Sorry, if this association, if I had set it up a year ago, and we had come into COVID-19 as a strong, powerful voice in business and in government, I think things would be very, very different now. And the other thing that is so important to me, and why I teach and why I love teaching above doing anything else, is just so that we can all connect, we can share information, we can share knowledge, and nobody can feel alone. I don't know about you guys, but I've worked for myself for the last 20 years, and it's a very lonely endeavor being a business owner on your own. And it can be daunting and lonely, and you can feel so vulnerable at times. And I just want to eliminate that. I really want a place for everybody to come together, to feel supported, to feel encouraged. My dogs are locked like 6 doors away because so I'm glad that didn't happen to me. But yes, anyway, I'm very excited about it.
We are at home, and also the dogs, I think they want us out from the home slowly, they want us back into our jobs.
They're just saying, like, why are you here all the time?
Yes, exactly.
But, I'm excited about it. It's going to be a great deal of work, but and as I go, I'm going to keep everybody posted. Definitely you, Sylvia. And if I can just say something very quickly, I know, Sylvia and Elfie, that you have done so much for all of us in the last couple of weeks. I don't know anybody who hasn't turned to you both for advice and guidance and information, and you've done it selflessly, and you've been there for all of us. And I think I speak on behalf of everybody in this industry when I say thank you for looking after us. And I mean, we're all just a bundle of nerves, and you guys you've just answered the call, and you talk and you let us share. So thank you for being our voice, and I really hope and thank you for this platform, for allowing all of us to share. So I just wanted to get that in before.
Because we wanted to give an example. You cannot expect something what you do not give. I think this is what just felt. And like, since beginning of the lockdown, actually, I want to say thank you. I really overwhelmed for what you say, because sometimes we even think like we are sitting alone in our office, and nobody is listening to us. But since the beginning, we had the feeling like something we have to do, and we had no clue what to do, because we also had our time to get to know the situation, to get to adapt to what is what, and how we move on. And I said it in one other interview. Alfie is a big fan of Gary Wee, and she was always like listening to him. And I said, like, what is the outcome of that? Like, what is it actually that you listen to all day? And then one day she came and she said, Mom, I have an idea. We opened a YouTube channel, and everybody can actually come. And I said, set it up. I'm in. So I think that is how it started, and we want to connect all of you. Some somehow that that all have the feeling not to be alone, you know, as what you say, Karen.
I think,
Yeah.
and maybe comes also why
Yeah,
I personally want to support your association. We have hundreds
gosh,
of
I'm
clients.
really doing it now, aren't I? Can't back out now.
Yes, we have
Amazing, I
hundreds
have to
of
say.
clients.
Happening.
But as you know, most of them in the creative world and florists, they are either single moms, they are small businesses, they are people who maybe are not like in the huge big budget industry, you know, so they are very vulnerable. And what we said was, the first thing is we want to support those people, that when we say something that it's trustworthy, because we are a family business, you know, we are not like one of the largest companies out there, but we want to give trustworthy information to our clients when they ask us like our opinion. And I think the platform that I want to give here, or that we want to give here, is not only for those maybe who feel at the moment it's overwhelming, because for a lot of the people out there, it's really daunting, as you say, but they don't know how to meet like month's end. They don't know what to do. Maybe they were in weddings. They don't know when weddings are going to happen again. When you switch on the TV, it's all negative. You know, you hear about death rate, and you hear about coronavirus, and you hear about like negative things that are happening in the country. And we want to actually also give this platform to people like you who inspire other people just by being here. And I think if I have only like touched one life by allowing this platform to work, then this is more than we could actually do during this time where we cannot also operate like the way we maybe want or we have done previously. So I thank you also like to come on here and to share this big news for South Africa, maybe even the Southern African hemisphere, because I believe this concept, each and everyone can feel at home, you know, like as a big family, as a big unit, and to have someone that speaks with one voice about all the problems that are actually in one industry. And I think, and I hope it will bring the people much closer together, because this is what we need. We are all a piece of the puzzle. And this is also why we actually named the series Piece of the Puzzle, because we understand that we are just one small piece. Without the whole bigger picture, we are nothing.
Yeah.
Well said.
I think so. Exactly right. We are all well said. We are all a piece of a much, much bigger puzzle. And I think that through collaboration, through coming together, we can only be stronger. We can only get it right as an industry collectively. And we can all work the book from the same page and not feel vulnerable and not feel alone. And like I said, when I moved to South Africa, like nobody would share information. I really struggled to find growers, find who to deal with at the market. I really stumbled along and made lots and lots and lots of mistakes. And there's no reason why that should happen anymore. And I don't want young florists to face the same thing. There's just no reason for that. And a lot of people say to me, but Karen, you know, you teach and you're teaching people to be your competitors. Yes, we're in competition for brides. I just don't see it like that at all. There is no way that I can produce the same thing that Leanie does. She is a rare talent just on her own. I can't do what she does and she can't do what I do. What I teach are floristry basics, the foundation, technicalities. I teach you how to run your floral business, but I don't teach you your own style, your own uniqueness. That is your individual thing. And I just don't see that we're all competitors. I think that we're all completely different. And also, if I am teaching my competitors, they've paid me for that information. So it's cool all the way around.
Correct, yes.
We do not have competitors. We have colleagues. Maybe one colleague, we have a better relationship than the other one. But there is actually that the word competition competition has such a negative touch, and we always try to avoid negative communication, because this is not good for the entire industry and not good for our own business. So I don't have to be friends with everyone, but I have to respect a colleague. And what happens sometimes in our industry is very disrespectful. And we also have seen this, like in this particular situation, which we actually should be united. So there was also a lot of confusion and disrespect, and I'm very sorry about that. And also I think even if you use the word competition, I would say a healthy competition is always good, because it brings the industry forward. You know, maybe it's not good for me at that moment, but it let me think about what can I do better to
or
maybe
different,
to maybe get my clients back, or to maybe get my market share back, or to maybe have another niche in the market. And this is how it actually goes, and not. I think South Africa's flower industry in total had a long time a very relaxed sit on a sofa, and there was nobody coming to join to sit next on the sofa. And I think that is, people got a bit lazy, and because they were so in such a comfort zone. And I think with a lot of new farms, with a lot of young florists, with a lot of people like us and anybody else that jumps like into the flower industry, the flower industry got a little bit of wake-up call, but also a refreshness, and I like that. I don't even, when people say about why you are inviting like a rose farm, or disclose your like supplier
sources,
or whatever, I have no problem with that.
I think it's about transparency by the end of the day, you know. So I think, and this is why I also like an association so much, coming back to that, is because there will be set rules, you know, that are accessible to everyone, and everyone can find themselves. I would like to know, like, Leanie, from you, like, when you hear about this, like this concept, like, what is it that you say, not only because you are friends, but what security would it give to you as a florist, like to be able maybe to say, okay, I am a member of that? Do you have like, is this something that is in your mind already, where you say, this would be actually nice because it would help me like in this support, or like to just, or what would be your expectation? Maybe that's maybe also something that is interesting for Karen, because I mean, it's not set in stone yet. It's something like a work in progress, to just also like figure out what is it that people actually would expect from an association like that.
Yes. Well, I think, do you want to say something, Karen?
No,
do you
carry on.
I think for me, just to have that sense of community where everyone gets together, and I do feel that there's a need among florists for a place to come together and discuss pricing, discuss, you know, like Karen said, legal stuff, or transport, or how do you do this, how do you do that. She also mentioned that she's going to arrange for some seminars. So just staying on top of your game, staying, you know, getting the latest floral, what's the word, techniques, and just staying up to date with everything that's happening around the world. Yeah, I think mostly sense of community, because as she said, it can get a little bit lonely. And we must also all stand together to price the same. And sorry, I lost my train of thought. We must keep the prices the same. Otherwise, for the industry, like you said, you get your hobbyists and some florists, professional florists, that charge differently. So I think if we can set a standard, an industry standard, that will help everyone.
Amazing. And
So
I
just
just
to-
read also
Yeah.
a few comments here, Kali, from the SA School of Weddings. And I think it's also in her interest because floristry is part, obviously, of what she's teaching as well.
Yeah.
If there is like a body or like something that has certain rules and they can also pass on to her students, you know. So I think that is
Yeah.
is great. And I think I just want, like, at that point, Karen, I want people to take note of your contact details, or how can they get hold of you if they would be interested about like more information. I think at this stage we can just say there's nothing set in stone as yet. It is a work in progress. It is something that you're working on. But like, if someone is interested in just the of it, or how can they get more information once like the membership is out and like everything, where do they find you?
Thanks, Alfie. I think the first thing that and the best thing to do would just be to pop me an email to info@daltonbloom.com. My email address is on all the social media platforms. So just send me an address saying, hey, when you have more information, please can you send that through? So I'll put everybody onto a mailing list and I will send all of the information as soon as I get it. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks. Things are obviously running a lot slower. So I'm waiting for our NGO documentation, and I'm still busy working on our constitution and a couple of other things. So as soon as I have any information, I can start sending that out. But I just wanted to touch a little bit, if we've got some time, on what I'm hoping the deliverables will be. And Leanie, please, at any time, just add in or let me know if there's anything that you think that we should work on. Leanie and I chatted a little bit today, and one of the things that we can really benefit from, I think, are trade deals. An association, wouldn't it be cool? And like, let me just say this right now. I'm sure I'm not going to get this right first off. I'm sure I'm going to make tons of mistakes. But my intentions are good, and I really want to make this work for all of us. But can you just imagine, hey, you mentioned that Carly's here and she made a comment, I didn't see it, but can you imagine if we set up an internship program for all of these young ladies who finish with these courses and want work? I mean, if the association set up some sort of internship program for all of these school leavers, I mean, already that's helping young people, because not a lot of people are going to go for floral training and start up their own business. They're going to want to go and work for other people. So aside from that, just imagine trade deals where, as an association, I approach legal firms, insurance companies, transport companies, and the list goes on. And I said, hey, can you give a discounted rate to our association members? Just imagine seminars where we work only on self-esteem, because I think a lot of creative people suffer from, a little bit of insecurity. So, I mean, my mind just, I can't stop. My mind just goes and goes and goes when I think about setting industry standards, about just opening up everybody's minds and the community and the conversation between all of us. So I would welcome any ideas, anything you really want to see coming out of your association, your Floral Designers Association of Southern Africa. And I think Southern Africa is important. Obviously, I've worked a lot in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, the Congo. There's so many florists in this whole entire region who need each other's support. So send me an email and I'll get in touch.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, because I mean, we also have like florists outside of South Africa. They are our clients, and when we talk to them, they face the same problem, and even more, because maybe in Congo there are not so many florists like what we have here, so they can even talk to less people than what we have the possibility to talk to, or in other countries, I think it is very, very nice to have overarching like a bridge for all of us, like an anchor. I would say the association could be an anchor
and a safe haven. I think
That's
specifically
such a nice way
now.
to put it. I love that. An anchor.
I think
Love
it's
that.
like, especially now, like people need people. I mean, I think if we have never like thought that we need other people, like this is the time where we actually know that we cannot just do it on our own. Like we need the interaction with other people. We need the support of other people. We need like a reaching hand of other people. So I think like to just have like the community together is already a beautiful thing. Like to just like, you know, have a place where everyone is with the same mindset. You know, when you will go to the association, you will not be alone, because already like you can read that these are the standards, this is what people are working for, this is the ethics that they have, this is what they want to achieve. So I think that is I just think it's brilliant.
Yes, I also like
Good.
that. And
I'm
if
glad.
it's to put it maybe on a very low level also to say, and even if it supports like every florist to talk to each other freely. Yeah, like what we have right now, we have here and there and there and there a group, and they talk to each other, which is perfect and nice, and I appreciate that. But we do not have an all-over platform where everybody can actually freely talk to everyone if they want. I mean, if they don't want, is no problem. But if they want, and I think the last couple of weeks, we have been put a little bit thrown into the cold water with this whole story, like also like what is possible, what is not possible,
For
and
florists,
for florists, and we have talked to, I would say, to almost more than 100 people the last couple of days, and like I always had the feeling like when I talk to someone, there was a like out of that, just that we talked, you know, that we just tried to
exchange
exchange
ideas,
our
you know?
feelings,
I think a lot
ideas.
of what we're saying is like a lot of things can come out also out of the association, you know. I mean, you are all brilliantly creative people, and if you talk to each other, imagine what you can do alone, but what you can do like when you're all together.
Yes, and even just like yesterday, we had a very interesting story talking to Ludwig's Rose Farm, and then afterwards we chatted a little bit, and we made a plan actually for doing things together. And I think that is what can come out of talking to each other. You know, we don't have to be afraid of each other. And in these days, nobody can actually say, "I'm sorry, I have no time." Like everybody has time like now.
Yeah, no, I love that. Just to inspire.
I do think it's a great idea. And I think, yeah, Leanie, don't you think? I think, you know, Leanie and I work a lot together. If I've got a big event, she's the first person I call as a freelancer, and she does the same. And I absolutely love working together. And I think it's the one thing I realize in my business that I miss the most is other people.
Yes.
So I just, can you imagine from a freelancer's point of view, the support that you'll get, just reaching out if you're looking for work. I'm very, very excited about it. I am a little bit daunted by the task, so I'm sure you'll all have me on the phone often. But I'm really welcome to any ideas. I really want to know how we can make this work for all of us, because yes, there is that air of alliances or collusion or strange competition, which, yeah, we will all feel it. So it would be nice just to eradicate that, especially for young people or newcomers to the industry, so that they don't feel vulnerable, they don't feel excluded, and they don't feel like outsiders. I think, like you say, can you imagine what we could do together as women as well?
Karen, is, yeah, what it will be is what we all will make out of it. That's what it is.
Yes.
True.
And I think we can do a lot of good, not just for ourselves, but can you imagine, hopefully with government grants, this is my big idea, but hopefully we can make a difference to a lot of women's lives by upskilling and training women to work for themselves. And can you imagine helping them in their own business endeavors? Not saying that all of them will, but can you imagine helping underprivileged women who come from really tough situations why can't we help these women set up their own businesses? So that's
And I
what
just
I'm
want
looking
to
forward
say,
to. I'm
because
looking forward to that.
maybe it's also men, you know, because in the creative
Yes, of course.
world, you don't only have like women, you have also men who, I mean, are doing fabulous jobs these days in creative like industries. So I think that is also something where maybe they also like feel at home then, you know, it's not just for women, it is for creative people to mix and to mingle and to just exchange and to have certain backup, you know, that you know, okay, when you are going out there, you are equipped with the right like education, but also with the right administrative things, like maybe you have a contract, you know, that someone checked already, which is like, I don't want to say bulletproof, but somehow, you know, everyone usually is looking for those information. It's like, where to get this from? Like I take a few things from here, I take a few things from there, and I hope that when I put it together, it's gonna like help me.
Be legal.
Yes, but I think all of those things are just like important for someone to start, and not even for young people, also for experienced people, because I think actually this is going to be the best benefit if you have a mix of florists who are maybe already 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, whatever in the industry, and people who come in new are actually learning from each other. It's like, how did you do this? How, what are you doing here? And not only to provide like a school system, but really to like exchange and like to.
But I think Leanie also wanted to say something.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking of all the times that I phoned Karen, like, Karen, how long can Jip stay out of water for? You know, like things like that. Like you just said, not necessarily technical stuff, but like, for instance, you work with Jip out of water for the first time and you're unsure whether it's going to last for 2 days that it's supposed to or not. So I think having that as a backup is really nice.
And how long does it last, Leanie?
Only about a day. It just
so I also want to provide a platform where people actually learn something. So
I would say,
don't you think?
Sorry, no, carry on.
Don't you think it would be important as well to learn from each other's mistakes?
Yes.
Sure.
Because I've made them.
Definitely.
I've made them.
This is
There's been many tears
on site how you learn
fixing mistakes.
Yeah.
So I think it would be great for us to be able to sit down. I don't know, we'll find the right platform, but all get together and go, hey, this is what I did. It was a complete disaster, so don't do that. You know, you mentioned contracts. When I'm teaching, one of the first thing people ask me is, can we see your legal contract? Can we see this document? We want to protect ourselves. So this is something that the association will help its members with. Timeline. There's so much information that we can help each other with.
And I like this idea,
and I really
what
hope
you
we can do
said.
that.
With the mistakes, that reminds me when Preston Bay actually came 3 years ago to Johannesburg and came actually here to talk. You know what he talked about? He talked about his mistakes.
Yeah.
And that was for me, a man like him talking about his mistakes was so eye-opening. And I felt like, wow, I mean, he could have talked about all his success and everything. No, he talked about his mistakes, you know, and I think that is the greatness of a person talking about mistakes and guiding people maybe not to do the same.
Yeah, and I mean, why must other people go through the same thing that someone gone through and knows maybe it's working or not working? So it's great. I mean, again, like I think you are maybe number 2 fans just after Leanie in this whole thing, but we really would like to support the idea, and I just want to like maybe reach out to the people, to the florists out there. I know that there are a lot of people watching, and maybe they are like just like getting their heads around this whole new concept. But if they have any questions, please, they should contact you, Karen, on your email to get a few more information about it. And I think it would just be amazing. And I think the whole industry will be much greater because there's something for everyone in it.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing it with us.
And I'm so glad I found you actually just like to talk to you. And this is the outcome I have never, ever expected.
Oh,
And
Sylvia,
Leanie,
thank
for
you.
also, we hope that, I mean, we all hope in the event business that things are going to move rather sooner than later. The reality is that specifically for weddings is going to be very, very tough. I think everyone who's closing their eyes right now from this reality is not in a good space. I hope just maybe also like through this association, you can all find new ideas. And I mean, we are there maybe also to give our input.
Yes.
What can be done for florists who actually are event florists, maybe to bridge the gap to what they can do maybe, or what we maybe can suggest as idea as to where to go from right now to when events will happen again.
Yeah, and we're also working on solutions that might actually help event florists to bridge the time until the events start like picking up again. Yeah, taking off again. So we are not in the position to say about that, but like about maybe end of the month, hopefully.
Yes. But yeah, I wish you ladies.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, I wish you.
It's hard for me to keep, I can tell you.
Yeah, I wish you all the best. What I saw, you know, what my wish with you already being online here, you realized one wish that I had like a week ago when I started the channel, that I can give people something back. Or even inspire other people. And I think also, first of all, with you two being here, seeing collaboration over competition, seeing something completely new, like a vision that is coming, that is supporting an entire industry, really warms my heart. And I just want to say thank you so much. And I appreciate you, and I really wish you all the best. And whenever you have questions, obviously, I think we would love to give our input, but please, everyone who has like really questions about the whole structure, speak to Karen.
There's nothing to it.
Thank you. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye, ladies. Bye-bye.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
ladies. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.